Hey guys, what is going on? This is Wrestlelamia back with another episode. It's the first Smackdown of June, and with Backlash around the corner, you can be certain things will be heating up. Join us now as Wrestlelamia analyzes the 5th June edition of Friday Night Smackdown, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including CM Punk calls out AJ Styles, Adam Cole discusses his WWE future, FTR's status with AEW, Matt Riddle's Royal Rumble dreams, and more. As always, Wrestlelamia isn't going to recap the matches, but look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. The good. A great feud in the making. The feud between Jeff Hardy and Sheamus is starting to look promising. Neither man will have no trouble having good matches, but there's more to sports entertainment than work rate. Jeff's promo and Sheamus's response were both good in building up their feud. Bayley 2 belts. The WWE's push for Bayley has been incredible, with Bayley now holding the SmackDown Women's Championship and one half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. While Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross's second title reign was a bit short, this win shows the WWE's faith in Bayley. Placing this in the good section does come with a warning. Putting tag titles on a world champion rarely does anything but devalue the tag titles. Unless this is a short-lived title reign, it could be another step backwards for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Drew's star rises. AJ Styles is always capable of putting over opponents, but his Raw run saw the WWE misuse him, having him give an occasional win to rising stars, only to dominate them and make them look weak in the long run. Drew Gulak's win over Styles tonight was huge, as well as a fantastic match. And while it's too soon to tell if Gulak will get a push, it's hopefully a new trend for the WWE using Styles to build new stars. The bad. Sheamus's squash. While the build-up for Sheamus and Hardy has been good, Wrestlelamia isn't sure that having Sheamus beat down Hardy was the right thing at this point. A pull-apart brawl would have been better. Smackdown comes up short. No, Wrestlelamia isn't talking about the endless Shorty G height jokes, although they've long past being useful as cheap heat, but the WWE's continued inability to do comedy with few exceptions. The segments where The Miz and Morrison played practical jokes on Braun Strowman were either designed by or for Vince McMahon. The segments did nothing to further the Universal Championship match at Backlash and only reinforced the foregone conclusion Strowman is going to destroy his opponents. A useless match. Although wrestling fans enjoy seeing The New Day, the 6-man tag match featuring The New Day teaming with Shorty G against Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro, and Mojo Rawley was a waste of time. Nakamura and company have the stink of losers all over them, and until Shorty G gets a singles push, no one sees his win tonight as anything but being with a winning team. Spoiling a potential feud. Tonight's Lacey Evans vs. Sonya Deville match was a letdown, not because of the wrestling action, but because the WWE used it to further the Mandy Rose vs. Sonya Deville feud, which, truth be told, has quickly become average when it should be building up Evans vs. Deville. Sometimes it's best to change things up when you discover a hot angle, rather than sticking to something which has proved disappointing. The downright ugly. Tonight's show was a letdown after the last month's worth of solid SmackDown shows. There were one or two good segments, but the show was incredibly average or bad for a show that's supposed to lead up to a pay-per-view. Not every show could be a winner, but tonight's show demonstrated zero effort from WWE Creative. By the way, for those wondering how Braun tipped over The Miz and Morrison's van, you'll no doubt remember the monster among men tipping over an ambulance back during Braun's feud with Roman Reigns. You may also recall a Wrestlelamia video where we discussed how the WWE likely used a hydraulic lift to simulate Strowman's superhuman feat of strength. Tonight's feat of strength was pre-taped, and if you watch it closely, you'll notice a number of cuts between Strowman and the pranksters Miz and Morrison. The WWE had plenty of time and options for tipping over the van, then filming Strowman standing over the vehicle. Whatever the method, it was impressive looking. News. CM Punk takes veiled shot at AJ Styles? The current protests against police brutality and racial injustice have led to a number of exchanges on social media. Recently, CM Punk had some strong words. A lot of people snitching on themselves. When people tell you who they are, believe it. Might be unfortunate and disappointing if you're a fan of that person, or if it's your grandmother, but fuck them. Goodbye. I yield my time. Fuck you. Someone tweeted, right? Silence speaks volumes. Seeing AJ Styles promote streams and shit but couldn't be bothered to post anything made it clear how he feels. That was a tough unfollow. CM Punk had a passive-aggressive response that spoke volumes. Well, come on, that one's been obvious for years. Styles may be the type of person who isn't about virtue signaling but makes change with action rather than social media posts. Punk's past antics at Stirring the Pot have made any posts he makes fall into the category of the boy who cried wolf, as fans wonder whether he's looking to make waves or if he has a legitimate argument. Matt Riddle recalls Royal Rumble and Paul Heyman dismissing him. Matt Riddle is now officially a Smackdown superstar, and he's been making a name for himself on NXT as well as on social media for calling out Bill Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. When Riddle learned that he was going to compete at the 2020 Royal Rumble, he was psyched that he might finally face Lesnar. However, as the King of Bros recalls, Paul Heyman and his security guard, I won't mention his name, him and his security guard come up to me and basically told me I had no chance in hell. It was very Vince McMahon-like. No chance in hell that I was going to get that match with him and that I'd have better luck doing something else. Nevertheless, it was a great experience for Riddle. So I wasn't mad, I wasn't sad, I was just more heartbroken. But it's like when a girl turns you down on a date. Hey, it doesn't mean give up completely, it's like, okay, let's go back to the drawing board. Maybe I came on a little too strong this time. Kick Corbin, kicked now reigning heavyweight champion Drew McIntyre. Lesnar reportedly confronted Riddle and told him it's never going to happen, but as fans know, anything can happen in the WWE. In fact, rumor has it that Lesnar will be back for SummerSlam, with the possibility of him facing Bobby Lashley or even Matt Riddle. FTR's AEW status. Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, aka FTR, aka The Revival, spoke with Jim Cornette on the Louisville Lips podcast, discussing a number of subjects, including their status with AEW. FTR told Cornette, "So we're negotiating still. We have a short-term, almost handshake deal because they want to get this thing done finally, so we're not under any long-term obligation to anybody. That's a nice little caveat for you." The interview was fascinating as Dax and Cash weaved in and out of kayfabe, teasing the possibility that the Bucks could get seriously injured as FTR isn't there to play around. The team stressed how AEW president Tony Khan has been, with Dax noting, "He's trusted us, and he's got trust in us, full trust, which is probably why he's allowing us to appear on these handshake deals, and me and Cash, we're men of our word, as we said earlier. But he's been great to us, and more importantly, at least to us in our pocketbooks. But I think he really believes that with myself and Cash, he really believes that we are the guys who can get over during the pandemic." FTR said they'd love to have Cornette in their corner, a prospect that would definitely cause some people online to lose their minds, given Cornette's strong opinions on a number of topics. Adam Cole talks leaving the WWE. As noted in an earlier news video, current NXT champion Adam Cole's WWE contract will expire this summer, and fans are wondering whether he plans on sticking around. Cole spoke with CBS Sports' Brent Brookhouse and revealed, "Right now, and I mean this because a lot of people say, oh, what's next? What are you going to do next? You're NXT champion, what's your next goal? My goal is to keep the NXT championship. At the end of the day, right now, I just broke a full year as NXT champion. I love NXT, and I'm proud of what this brand represents, and I'm proud of what I've done and the Undisputed Era has done. I see no reason why we have to skip over to the next goal or the next thing. I think holding on to the NXT championship for as long as possible and making sure this record can and never will be broken is my endgame goal." What do you think Cole will do as his contract nears its end? Lio Rush's email to the WWE about possible racism. While Lio Rush is no longer with WWE, he reportedly had backstage heat because he refused to carry older wrestlers' bags and offer beers and drinks to veterans. Rush has come under fire for being disrespectful to some wrestlers, so he recently shared an email that he sent to the WWE in 2018 about racially insensitive acts. Here are some of Rush's key points from the email. "As for the continued harassment to serve other wrestlers with beer and to carry their luggage, I fundamentally disagree with this type of hazing. It's not within my job description or contract to perform duties of this kind. I would like it to be noted that I don't consider myself above any particular type of task. When breaking down rings in NXT was part of my duties, I performed all duties happily and professionally. However, what I'm being told to do here is degrading and unprofessional. I don't believe that any of us are above or below each other. No one should be asked to serve another person or carry their belongings, but I feel strongly about this matter being a young African American male. I find these demands to be racially insensitive. Long before Rush shared this email, he made his feelings known that he did not agree with this type of initiation. What do you think of Rush's stand on this? 90s personality returning to WWE? Last but not least, Todd Pettengill recently did a promo hyping NXT TakeOver In Your House, playing off the nostalgia not only from the 90s In Your House pay-per-views, but also from Todd's run as a backstage interviewer in the WWF during the mid-90s. Now, PW Insider says rumor has it Pettengill may be at the show this Sunday. WrestleVotes is adding that this weekend's NXT TakeOver In Your House will resemble the In Your House events of the past. While I can't confirm if the original setup will be used, the old-school vibe will be evident, including graphics and sounds. Production is said to be phenomenal for this show. This could be a fun show for old-school fans as well as NXT fanatics. Well guys, there you have it, Wrestlemania's analysis of the 5th June Smackdown, as well as the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know. Did you watch tonight's show? If so, what did you think? Be sure to leave your comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time for some more wrestling content.